Hello, hello, hello. This is the faith and finance show or videos or podcast or however I end up deciding to label it or call it. This is brand new to me, brand new to you. And maybe this type of content is brand new to you. I guess it doesn't really matter. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. The goal of this is really just going to be to share with you guys some of the stuff that I've learned through my years. And I'm not the oldest guy, and I'm not claiming to have an abundance of knowledge or even be qualified to be giving great advice or anything like that. But this show's gonna focus on faith and finance, just like it's titled, and like I'm gonna label this faith and finance, and how those relate, and just talk about how how difficult maybe that is to balance, how I do it in my life, and some suggestions in both of those areas. Both of those areas are areas that interest me, and I'm a Christian, so it's I think if anybody else listening to this is, I think we may have common ground in and sometimes having difficulties in balancing how we approach finance, and how we want to make sure that we do well for our families, and especially as men, that we do well for our families financially, but all at the same time keeping the main thing, and not worshiping money, not worshiping finances, not putting too much weight into something that into an earthly desire. And that is definitely something I've struggled with in my life, and I think I'm at a better place now, and I'm definitely not perfect, and I'm going to slip up and go back and forth in my progression in this, but I think it's a good thing that I want to talk about, and I want to share with you guys, hopefully over the course of weeks, if not months, if not years, and just having discussions about about topics relating to faith and finance, and maybe how those things go together, and ways that we can be more secure and stable in both. So I'm excited to get into it. Excuse me. I'm excited to get into it. I'm excited to start sharing, and I guess that's probably where I should start. So I'm 29. I'm going on 30. I'm from the South, and I did not grow up as a Christian. I'd say I grew up with obviously the knowledge of Christianity. Obviously that it exists, and that my friends were Christian, and my friends would go to church, but my family never forced me to go to church. I would go occasionally with friends, but really didn't understand anything. I wasn't reading the Bible. I was someone who felt, I would say, out of place at church. Like when I showed up, I felt like, ooh, everybody else knows what's going on except for me, and that's an odd feeling, especially, growing up as a kid to teenager, those years, going somewhere and then feeling out of place, like everybody else is in on something and you're the one who doesn't know what's going on. And I, would feel that, especially when I would go to Catholic churches, and even to this day, I don't go to Catholic church that often. I still would only go with friends. But yeah, it was just very, I wouldn't say unwelcoming to me. I would say it was just intimidating to me. It wasn't that it felt like people didn't want me there. It was just that, excuse me. It was just that I felt like I didn't know enough to be there. You know, kind of similar to, I don't know if you've ever heard people say they need to lose weight to go to the gym, or they need to improve in some way before they start really improving. Does that make sense? Well, like where, you know, someone would say, I need to get in better shape so I can start going to the gym. And that's kind of how I felt about church, where it's like, if I wanted to go to church, I need to learn more about church. I need to learn more about the Word. And that's, you know, as I grow up, at a certain point, I realized that's just not the truth. You know, whatever you are in your current form is good enough, you know? And that's something I had to learn over time. And so I came to faith sort of, I'm not going to say on my own, because everybody in my life has had an influence on, you know, who I am today and how I got to this point. So I'm not going to say completely on my own, but, you know, a friend gave me a Bible, and the Bible sat in a drawer for a couple years, and then, you know, at the age of, I'd say maybe 22 or 23, you know, just like probably a lot of people, you start going through a tough time, and then that Bible comes out, and I just started praying and started reading, and that's honestly where it started, is and getting better at that over time, and just starting faith. I mean, it wasn't something where something happened and then I immediately saw like a miracle and I was like, oh, you know, I'm hooked. I believe in God. I have, you know, it's not like that. You know, I think I always had, you know, some belief in God, but it was never, I don't know, I guess it was never really founded on my own. It was never something that I went and sought out, and I especially never sought out a relationship. So yeah, when I was 22 or 23, I actually started seeking out that relationship, and have been building ever since. And you know, I'm going to be building to the day I die, because that relationship is a work in progress, just like I feel like any relationship is. You know, it's all going to be a work in progress, and nothing's going to be perfect. You're going to have your ups, you're going to have your downs. But that's just how I came to it. And, you know, personally, I have, and I'll get to the finance part, here shortly. You know, personally, I have sort of a distinct line in the sand of my life where, you know, there is time before starting to know Jesus, and then there's time after, if that makes sense. Like there's a quality of life that I enjoy now that I did not enjoy, and I'm not talking about, you know, riches and, you know, like, when I say quality of life, I just mean, you know, quality of like peace of mind and confidence and and yes, of course, like there's earthly benefits, you know, that I've incurred since then, but I mean, that's not what I'm focusing on. I'm not saying, you know, I started praying and then I, you know, hit the lottery, and no, it's not like that. It's just, for me, when I genuinely started trying to get to know Jesus and start to build that relationship honestly, and instead of someone, you know, telling me I needed to pray, or, you know, forcing you to go to church, you know, when that journey started, you know, on my own accord, and I was really trying to buy in, there's a line in the sand of the quality of my life, the quality of my mind, the quality of my confidence, the quality of my relationships were significantly worse before, meeting Jesus or trying to get to know Jesus, and so I don't think I'm alone in this, and that I'm the only one that feels this way. And I know everyone may not feel this way, and definitely everyone may not have even had the moment that I had where we realized we wanted to start our own path. A lot of people grow up, being brought to church, or are being forced to read the Bible, and for some people that turns them away, and that's really unfortunate. I think we all know people that have maybe it's more of a southern thing, but I think we all know people that have sort of been turned away due to over pushing religion, right? And so yeah. But as far as the finance part goes, I'm not a guru. I am not Mr. Moneybags over here. I'm not someone that has struck it big. I keep it simple. I have a simple job. I'd say middle class ish, job. Not crazy, but my path to hopefully wealth and security in the future is still being built, and I just want to discuss the things that have helped me build at least what I think is a reasonable investing account. And someone like me who I'm not like the smartest guy. I'm not a genius. I'm not inventing things. I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm not doing analyzing and calculations of charts and candlesticks and stuff like that. And I'm not doing stuff like that. I've tried my hand at that, and maybe later I'll tell you guys how I got into that and how that went. I'm sure you can guess how that went. It's how it goes for most people that try their hand at trading stocks and stuff. But I say all that to say I'm looking forward to sharing with you guys and learning from you guys. There's definitely stuff that you guys have to offer me is in the form of knowledge and learning and your experiences, and I just want it to be a place that puts God first and says we can have talks about finance at the same time of keeping the main thing and not letting money control us and not worshiping money. It's a very easy thing to do, to let money be your God. And this show is it's not only for you, but it's for me. I think I'm going to benefit discussing financial things in the realm of or discussing financial things while keeping Jesus first. So it may be difficult at times, it may be easy at times, but nonetheless it's an important thing to do. And yeah, so that's it. Just wanted to welcome you guys, give you a little bit of background. If you have any questions or comments, ask them, and I'll try to get back to you if it's a reasonable thing to answer in the comments section. I hope you understand this is a new thing for me, and it's a new thing for you, and so I'll have to get more comfortable at this and better at speaking and more comfortable sharing. So if you ask me a really personal question, I may not answer it. So but obviously feel free to ask. You can ask anything in the comments, or you can just give support or a word, or if you can relate to anything, please let me know. So thank you guys again, and have a blessed day.